All right, well, good day, everybody. Welcome in. Rocky Top Traveler. My name is Brett, and I'm at the Packard Proving Grounds, location where the Packard car was built. Also, I believe tanks were built here for World War II. We're going to go in and tour the facility. Right here, I'm by a busy road, so. All right, here we go. She's a flying today. Let's go over here and check this sign out. Packard Proving Grounds. Began building a proving ground on this site in 1926. Try to zoom in a little bit more. So yeah, we're gonna go in and take a look at the facility. They made cars here. I think they made tanks here and everything. We'll go in and take a look. Made tanks for World War II. It was a car company before the war. We're gonna walk around here to the front, get it real quick. And it is on the National Register of Historic Places. See it right there, got the plaque.
That's okay. No, it's okay. Okay, so what's your interest in Packard? Are you just car people,
He does
history people?
videos for Facebook and
Okay.
just some learning and looking around in Michigan. They've been here many years
Okay.
before coming to visit
Okay.
other family members, but
Okay, so they're from out of.
they're from Tennessee.
Okay, cool. Cool. What part of Tennessee?
Centerville. It's about 50 miles south of Nashville.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a friend who lives, but she's over on Douglas Lake.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you the history of Packard, the history of our property, and we're going to go through all three buildings. This is the lodge where the caretaker and his family live. The next one over where they are setting up for a wedding, so we'll just have to kind of weave between all that nonsense. That's where they tested the cars. The last building I'm going to take you in is where we keep our cars. So, and I'll explain that building at that time. So this is a map of what we used to look like. But we're going to start back in 1899 when cars were started in, well, the ones that got credit for it was Carl Benson, Mr. Daimler, but I don't know what his first name was. They got credit for starting cars in the 1890. They were actually started in 1870. But in 1899, James and William Packard lived down in Warren, Ohio. And there was a local guy in Cleveland who invented a car called the Winton. His name was Alexander Winton. So the brothers who owned a lighting factory and were very mechanical, they decided to buy one of these cars. Trying to drive it home, it broke down so many times that they had to have it towed home. So they started to tinker with it, being mechanical. And they contacted Mr. Winton and said, we have some ideas how you could make this a better car, a horseless carriage. And said, if you can do a better job, you should start your own company. So whether that was supposed to be a helpful comment or if it was supposed to be sarcasm, we may never know. So they did, though. They invented their own company along with the chief engineer for Mr. Wise, and the three of them founded the New York and Ohio auto car company, which then later became the Ohio Car Company. So they moved the company to Detroit after they had to get somebody to build a factory. There's a local guy in Detroit, but he's world famous. His name is Albert Kahn, and he was a world famous architect. The reason they contacted him, though, was because he was the first to combine steel and concrete to make bigger buildings that didn't need loading walls, like this one here. You can see the steel beam that goes across, so they don't have to have dividing walls. So for a factory, the Packard plant downtown was about 3 blocks long. It was very big. But the Packard brothers, James Packard came up here for a while and was president and then went to the board, and then he left too. So basically, by 1926, Alvin McCauley was the president of Packard, and Jesse Vincent was his chief engineer. The board decided we needed a place to test cars. So what we needed was a place in the country that wasn't gonna bother anybody. So this is what it looked like then. This is Van Dyke, where you guys drove in. This is 22 Mile and 23 Mile. For you, this is Shelby and Mound. So it was almost a mile square. When you drove in here, they also contacted Albert Kahn to build these two buildings. They wanted this to look like the home of a prestigious company. They didn't want it to look like a factory. That's why it has this Tudery English style with the slate roofs and the cottagey look. And there's, I say, you know, Albert Kahn never met a curve or an archway he didn't love, as you'll see in the house. It's, you know, so he built this house. This house was started in 1926. Jesse Vincent came from the Hudson Car Company. His brother Charles Vincent, also an engineer, was hired to become the manager here, but he was also a working engineer. So he became the manager. This was the lodge. The front of this was where the family lived. They had 3 daughters. They lived here. They had this boulevard of the elm trees going down, which died out from Dutch elm disease. We have replaced them. They had rose gardens. It was manicured. It was supposed to look expensive. So this was the 2.5 mile track. The day we started, the second man down there on the right, that was Leon Duray. He set the world speed record here at 148 miles an hour. Wow. This became the fastest track in the world at that point. So our opening day, we knew we had speed already. They also would test for endurance. Some of the pictures up there, the third one on the left, shows the last endurance run they did in 1955. That took 10 days and it was 25,000 miles and an average speed of 104 miles an hour. So they were very, you know, they wanted to test for speed and endurance, so we knew we had that. So then they built this 12 miles of off-road testing, and that was to simulate the worst conditions that they could for a car. What they said was Jesse Vincent's job was to build the cars, but Charles Vincent's job was to break the cars. So basically that is what we did here. We tried to destroy every car so we could see what the best way to improve them were. They used this as the infield. Charles Lindbergh actually did test airplanes here, so it's called the Lindbergh Hangar. He tested the first Stenson diesel engine here. That is now down here. Fast forwarding to 1956, we went out of business in Detroit. In the late 50s, up here, they had built a jet airplane and transmission plant, only time we built here. So Curtiss Wright, who did airplanes, they bought the property to use, and when they weren't interested anymore, they sold to Ford. So Ford had this area, they had this, they used it, they used this for offices, they used the track, they used the buildings for testing. When they weren't interested, they let it sit and it became very decayed, the building. I've been here 13 years, so I've seen a lot of stuff, but so 1989, Ford decided because it was in such bad shape, they would rather just bulldoze the whole thing and sell it to the government to build a post office. That's when Albert Kahn people and Packard people, they got together and made a nonprofit. So we are a nonprofit. We make our money from things like tours. Hopefully we get donations from events like weddings. We have lots and lots of events here, grants, things like that. So what we were able to negotiate from Ford was this much here. We were given 7 acres. Some wealthy people got together. One nice thing about Packard owners is they got money. They got together and they bought 3 more. So we had 10. Recently we bought 4 more over here for overflow parking and future use. So what they let us do, they didn't want it, so they let us drag this down here. So when we get out there, you'll be able to see it. So currently, this is what's left. That's all that's left to the track. The rest of this was sold off. Actually, I live here. So I live in the subdivision that's
You live
there.
in Enfield.
I live very close. They can get it to me at all times. So the rest of this was sold off. Now, unfortunately, we found out this happened in 1989-ish. We didn't find out until 2014 when this plant here became Utica Trim and then Vistion. When they were going to tear down Vistion, they found out they had very toxic waste. So it had contaminated the whole area. So this part is privately owned and they can't really sell it because the toxic waste and the structures, they had things like water baths, they had torture trails, they had sand, they had railroad ties, they had gravel. They had everything you could do to beat a car up. It's not really usable land. So that part, and since I live back here, they left the gate open one day. I went back to see, historically speaking, what was left. There was a railroad track came across here. They used that to bring tanks in during the war. We leased the property during World War II for Chrysler to test tanks. So there's still like 8 railway stations out there. The torture track is still there. The knuckle, which was a hill, is still there. The water bath. So a lot of the structures are still there, but we can't get to it. Yeah. So that's what's left. The rest of this has been developed all around. This was the family area here. Watch your step. Geez, it looks like they're bringing horses in. Skidoo. Oh, what kind of wedding they're having? They're bringing skidoos in. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
So this room was the living room. This table came from the boardroom downtown. The family moved in here. It was Charles Vincent, his wife Lucille, and then their daughters Dorothea Cornelli and Roberta. One of the things she remembers that they were sitting here on her father's birthday, listening to the radio, and this came on the radio. His birthday was December 8th, 1941.
Member of the Senate of the House of Representatives. Yesterday, we
Oh, you have a telephone. Can you do it?
Do you want to do that? Come here.
United States of America,
Let's go one way.
deliberately attacked
Pull it down.
by
Put your finger there.
of the Empire of Japan.
Listen.
Hello, hello.
Anyway, so at that time, Roberta was only 10 years old, and she knew her life would change forever because at that time, Packard was already making airplane engines for the war, even though we hadn't declared war. We were making the Merlin engine for Rolls-Royce. And I'll go into more of that then. So at that time, because we didn't know if this would be a target, nobody really knew, he decided to move.
Old phone.
So behind were pictures of the family of Roberta when she lived here. That's Roberta. Roberta was probably his age. She was up here. That's her, and that's the oldest daughter, middle daughter, the one that's alive, and the mom. That's Lucille and Charles. And that's her and the baby buggy out here. So anyway, what Roberta remembers is this, we have this set up as a sitting room, but she remembers they had a table here and they would feed some of the help, because if you lived here, like I said, you didn't always have, there was nowhere to go. If you didn't have a farm here, and there weren't that many farms at the time either, you needed a place. So they did have a table here for visitors and their wives who lived here too. So the 1930 census actually shows 3 people who lived here full time besides the family. So we know there were people that lived here besides the family, but not in this quarters. This was the family quarters. Now the bathroom here, if you take a look at it, the interesting thing about this is all the bathrooms have a separate faucet for drinking. And there is a filtration unit in the basement, which is very unusual. We don't even have those today. And all the toilet seats at that time were open in the back. They thought it was more sanitary to not sit on a potentially soiled area. That's why those were always open. So this has not been changed except, well, this. But everything has been painted and replastered, and the floor's finished. But otherwise, the place looks the same, unless I tell you. Now, there was an archway that went into the kitchen, which formed, they put drywall up, and we had to change the floor in there. Everything else is normal. Okay? All right, we're going to go through what probably was a pantry into the kitchen. Come on, Blake, let's go through here. We'll look at this stuff. You can let him go in there and look at it. You want to go around there and look at that stuff? The side door there was for, they could get produce and eggs and, deliveries through there, and the kids could go out there and play. This is a 1920s refrigerator that still works. This is a refrigeration unit. That is called a mangle. That's a Michigan company also, Ironride. And what you would do is you'd take big items like towels or sheets or, that's fine, he can walk through it. He can walk, he's not got anything here. Or tablecloths, and you could put them through there, and that would steam and iron them. So it was for big items, but you could also use it for trousers, things like that. They had those wire forms for trousers. You can see how wide they are, how wide the trouser legs were at the time. That's how they got the crease. Now, these things, some of these, now this is sharp, I don't want him touching this. This is called a mandolin, and you use this for cabbage and make sauerkraut, meat grinders. This was a ricer, you could put fruit, vegetables, whatever to squash them. This you'd put on a wall and you'd hang your laundry on. So a lot of these different things, that's a butter churn, or you could probably do ice cream, and early KitchenAid. So these are just all things you'd see in an early kitchen. But over there you've got a really heavy, if you pick them up, really heavy, it was a vacuum, a hand vac, and exactly, or an angel food cake, especially if they weren't quite, they were still a little warm. They would just squash with a knife, so those were really nice. That's what that was for. All right, we're going to do the stairs, so we just watch.
We're going up the stairs now.
This way. In here.
Creaky stairs.
So this was Charles and Lucille's room. There's their wedding picture. And it's set like the 40s, 30s, 40s. Now, all the furniture came from a lady whose father was an engineer down there, and she gave it to us when she died. She was in her 90s. She still had twin beds, and these are all things that you would see that she never got rid of. She even left her old clothes. You're gonna see those going all the way down the halls. They had to get a whole bunch of raccoons and about 3 tons of raccoon poop out of the walls and ceilings. So, that's where the baby slept.
Look, he's got the lamb like your baby bed does.
Now, now you see what I said about the curves and arches, that Albert Kahn never met one he didn't like, because he didn't make any square rooms. Everything is angled and curves and archways, and a lot of architectural design work in his stuff. There is a bathroom. We know that by the tile, but I can't tell you who did it. Probably
This is
they probably
set up as a little
You
nursery.
can go and look at that. That's all original except the, like I said, we paint.
Bathroom. Oh, there's the seat. Old hair dryer. 2 faucets she talked about.
That's an original monopoly set from 1929.
There's the stairs.
That's the canon than what we have now. So yeah, that's interesting. That's trademark was 1929 on that.
Wow.
That was the first year they came
That was
out with
when
it.
it came out. So that's an original. That's something else that lady had. Like I said, this was her furniture here. She still had twin beds in her house. She still had things with S&H green stamps on it, for crying out loud. I mean, seriously, that had never been opened. So we're gonna go in here, and that's a crimping iron.
Yeah.
That was to make waves. They would have to put this on the fire or the stove, and then they'd do it to make the waves.
It started an hour and a half instead of an hour.
And her mother did make that bedspread.
So this Monopoly is an original Monopoly, 1929, the first year that they come out.
That's a doggy. Her mom had to learn to walk and talk all over again, so she had a lot of time to sit. That's a Raggedy Ann doll.
This is just another spare bedroom that they got set up here. This is the chauffeur's room. Okay. Mechanic, chauffeur. Where he lived. Okay. And then next door is the housekeeper. Just a small little room. That sewing machine. And that's it. I think this is just a spare bedroom they got set up. There's no plaque or picture or anything to show. Check out that suitcase. There's a bathroom. Public bathroom for everybody that lived up here. See, got 2 stalls, 3. And there it is up there. They're actually setting up for a wedding here for this evening. This reason all the trailers and everything. Pretty cool. That picture was shot right here from this window. Right there. Alright, so we're going back downstairs. We're using some different stairs.
To test the cars in originally, but we use this for weddings. If people schedule a wedding and the weather's bad, they can set it up in here. They can do anything they want with this building. So they can have cocktails in here. They do a lot of different things. These are the original.
All these is big bay doors that opened up, bring vehicles in,
Big doors just have to kind of weave around.
and they're all original. Fire station, where the office is.
Yeah.
There. The power station had their own little power plant. And this is the garage that we just come out of. And this is the building they're setting up inside for the wedding reception. Take a peek
All right,
in.
is it still here or is it moved off
Here,
site?
it is, but we can't show it anymore, unfortunately. But I'll show you. All right, come on.
Now this is a lot bigger of a area. They must be expecting a lot of people. They have a bar.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
I guess
So
it comes in special occasions.
this is absolutely amazing. And we have, the last week we had 4 weddings. This weekend we had, I think, 2 weddings. We do all kinds of things, from craft shows, memorials, birthdays, graduations, craft shows, car show. We do everything here. So, come on,
Is that for a couple other outdoor events when just that building was open to? And the boat was in the corner of that building that time. And I've seen the boat at Troy Traffic Jam.
yeah, okay. 1954, they filmed a movie here called Johnny Dark. He's in a 53 Caribbean in this, and that's the timing station and the track looking east toward the tank building there. So in this movie, Johnny Dark, he played a race car driver, and it was filmed on our track and our Badlands, the intro. You can still go on YouTube and put intro to Johnny Dark, and you can see the beginning. The rest of the movie was just a movie. They didn't even use Packards in it. They used our track and everything. So that is a picture of him. The picture up here is from when Ford had it, and they had, I think that was probably Utica trim up there at the time. You can see this tank, or the airplane hangar is still in the middle of the track at the time, and the subdivision wasn't there. So that was after 1960, sometime between probably 60 and 90, but I don't know what year exactly. Watch your footing here, because there's...
This is a nice place. It's a nice big place to have stuff in. You can have prom in here. There's the big door. So this is the original building. This was the first one that was built. And the lights are original.
The one last week was huge and so elaborate. She had things. If you ever find
those are the trucks with the trailers that have brought everything in to set up for the reception and wedding. I don't know if the wedding's actually going to be here or not, or if it's just the reception.
If weather's like this, we do a lot more in the summer, obviously. Spring, summer, and fall than we do in the winter.
Now, what's the price to rent something out
Well,
like this?
if it's a Saturday in like July, August, September, and you got it for the whole day, obviously they start setting up early. So, you know, you're here for about 12 hours. The basic cost is $7,000, and then they bring everything in. Now, if you have a baby shower in the middle of December on a Tuesday, you go by the hour. So it just depends on what you get. They can rent the cars from us. We will chauffeur them in the cars. They don't drive them. We will pick them up, drive them here. A lot of them will have their wedding out on the boulevard. Eminem's daughter got married here. And they had the wedding on the boulevard. They had 2 cars that we chauffeured them in. They drove around there, and he walked her through 2,000 white roses. It was quite elaborate. And they had their dinner out on the boulevard too. And then they had the reception in here. That's the only time I've ever seen that. Mostly the dinner. One on each side of the boulevard, met nose to nose. He walked her through 2,000 white roses with her dogs. They had so much security. I knew it was somebody big because the security was, I mean, that's why she wanted it. She wanted it about her, not about him. And he kind of kept to the side. We're very low key, so it would be about her. So it was really cool. Anyway, so we're going to go in here now and look at the cars. So you just kind of keep an eye on him. So
She was talking about Haley J, Eminem's daughter's wedding. About how it was a lot of security, and it was all about her and not him. And that's the way they wanted it. He was very low key, but very, very nice to everybody. Pretty cool. So this is the tank test center building. They have a lot of cars set up in here.
take your sunglasses out. Oh, there is real glasses. They'll adjust. They'll adjust. Okay. So this building was built in 1943 by Chrysler, so they could test tanks. What they tested mostly was Shermans, Pershings, Grants, and artillery equipment. They used our track, they used our Badlands. They needed these big doors to get in. As you see, they couldn't have got in over there. So they even, on the top down there, you can see the crane. The crane could pick up a tank or an engine or whatever, and this slide would come up and down, and they could move the tank or the engine up and down here to different stations where they did different testing. So basically, they were doing the same thing we were during the war. After the war, this was turned back over to Packard. But when this was built, they could only use concrete and wood. Most everything that's metal has been reinforced after Packard got it back. Up here, this was the employee entrance to the Packard plant. This was donated to us by 4 individuals got together, and they were able to get it at auction. Watch, there's oil on the floor. There's oil. I don't want you stepping in it, honey. Okay. Yeah, you get it all over your feet. There's always oil. These things move like crazy.
Yeah, you can smell them.
Put down, it just got kind of washed. I think out here we're fine, but I didn't want to, you know what? Let me, then nobody will get in it tonight. So. Packard in 1931 at 125 miles an hour. It was 6,400 horsepower. I can show you a picture. They won't let us show it anymore, but I can show you the picture of what it looks like. And I can show you the actual film of the... This is what it looks like inside. So you've got the two engines coupled on this side, the two engines coupled on this side. The front, there's 150 gallons of gas. They're AV engines, aviation engines. So
Yeah,
they
you can see them
use
sticking up
aviation
right there.
gas, and it goes through 10 to 20 gallons of gas a minute.
So this is what's left of the track, test track. See the rail. It's the air hanger. Can't go in it. They just use it for storage now.
She can go fast. You can park here.
That's the tower for the test track. Just a very small part that's left of it. That's what it looked like. It's a picture of some people up in that tower there. There's a picture of it. And there's the airplane hangar. I don't know where they brought planes in at. I don't know. In the infield. It's all that subdivision used to be just the infield. That track went way around, but it's all become subdivision now. Not much to see on the hangar since can't go in it or anything. See the big hangar doors and the rail that it slides on. And there's the other side of it. So there's the main garage building again. That's the building right there that they had all the cars set up in. And then behind it is the airplane hangar. We'll ride down there, take a look at it. They got all these trees here. It's a little windy out here today, but it feels good. Feels real good. There's a water tower right there. It says on it, Packard Proving Grounds. And the leaves are starting to fall. So I believe this area right through here is where Eminem's daughter had her wedding at. That area right down through there. And this black awning that's put up on this fence here, that was put there for her wedding several years ago. They just ain't never took it down. And that's the first building we went in. That's the little garage slash residence where the family and the mechanic, chauffeur, they all lived. And these are the gates. That's looking back out onto the street there. And there's a littler gate to walk through. I hope you can see it. It's kind of hard, bad glare. So we're outside the gates now. Had a big old truck pulling the trailer go in. The gate's right there. This is the side of the residence. All right, well, that's going to do it for Packard, the Packard Proving Grounds. Boy, I cannot talk again. It's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoy it. History, some World War II history, some automobile history. So, I hope you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all those things. Hit that notification bell. Let you know when I put new content out. Hit that big thumbs up. Ching ching. Zoomed in a lot. There you go. But yeah, that's going to do it. And until next time, I'll see you real soon. Thank you. There's that real busy highway. And good night. This was a really cool place.